Social capital. Getting in the desired circles. Welcome back, dear friends, to a new video in our series on how to elevate our presence. Conceived as a personal tribute to Pierre Bourdieu, this series connects practical strategies and resources for enhancing our quality of life and appreciation of beauty in areas where his monumental work distinction highlighted key differences between affluent and working-class families. In his research, Bourdieu compiled these differences into 4 capitals, which shall provide the dimensions for our dataset. In machine learning, a dimension is simply an attribute that characterizes data. In our previous video, we explored strategies to upgrade our cultural capital, leading to taste refinement. We worked with labeled data that included our educational background, disciplinary interests, and the knowledge resources we have access to, be they libraries, courses, or our city's art life. Our model operated in supervised learning. In this video, we aim to build our social capital, targeting networking or interdisciplinary events. As we are yet to discover the crowd behind an RSVP, working on our social capital challenges us with unlabeled data, moving us into the realm of unsupervised learning. Finding your tribe. Data selection in unsupervised learning. So here we are, at our first social event where we don't know a soul. If applied in machine learning, such a challenge demands focusing on the essential and eliminating noise. In unsupervised learning, this selection is conducted through principal component analysis (PCA). In life, integrity remains our greatest ethic, so let's always gravitate toward people whose values, ethics, and interests align with ours. Unsupervised learning. Clustering and association. Unsupervised learning includes 2 main families of algorithms: clustering and association. Clustering groups similar data points. In life, large clusters, art aficionados we might meet at an opening. Smaller clusters, curators, collectors, investors, or passionate enthusiasts. K-means clustering assigns each cluster a centroid and minimizes distances around it, ensuring cohesion. To choose the right number of clusters, the elbow method identifies the point of diminishing returns. Think of memberships and affiliations. Beyond a certain point, they rarely introduce new people, but rather strengthen existing liaisons. Cluster evaluation tools remind us to check accuracy, distortion, similarity, inertia, separation, done index. The second family of algorithms in unsupervised learning is association, which explores if-then relationships. If I choose to listen to the person in front of me rather than dismissing them on superficial grounds, I will likely discover both shared interests and an inspiring story. Algorithms such as a priori use support, how often something occurs; confidence, how often A leads to B; lift, how much more likely A and B are to occur together than separately. Returning to supervised learning. Building and expanding your network. We might have gathered a list of events to attend, but gaining social capital is not as much about physical proximity to certain individuals as it is about moving with ease within desired circles. To do so, we must return to our core values and examine potential mental barriers. We therefore shift back toward supervised learning, where social ease depends on making others feel comfortable in our presence. 2 measures stand out as particularly beneficial. Correlation, when 2 features evolve in the same direction. Am I astute enough to transform any random remark into an anchor that deepens our conversation? Mutual information. What features reveal about one another? Do I have the intuition to anticipate the direction this person wishes to take our exchange? When aspiring to build social capital, we aim for elegance, trust, and belonging, which can be analyzed through both classification, should I pose this question, and regression, what response would make the other person feel more comfortable? Synthetic datasets, such as make classification or make regression, can refine our personal magnetism through parameters like N samples, graceful participation across various social scenarios. Think of the School of Life videos and books on social intelligence, conversation, and charm. N features, all traits we're confident in: cultural literacy, intellectual pursuits, worldliness, manners, and sense of humor. N informative, tone, gestures, nonverbal cues, or other aspects that express confidence. Amy Cuddy's presence could be a wonderful starting point. Noise. Taboo topics such as politics, religion, or money in polite conversation. Random state. The range of subjects and contexts we can navigate with our current social skills. Algorithm selection opportunities can be addressed through the following algorithms. Support vector machines, SVM, establish boundaries as classes are recognized, encouraging a contribution mindset and clarifying the value we bring to each circle. Polynomial regression shows how connections deepen as familiarity grows, how a friendly exchange can evolve into meaningful friendship. K-nearest neighbors, KNN, classifies by similarity, just like learning social codes that help us adapt across settings. Decision trees help us discern how to express interest appropriately, when to respond with an open question, and which one. Random forests integrate multiple perspectives, mirroring the eclectic crowds we meet at cross-disciplinary events where shared interests are explored through diverse lenses. Neural networks mimic the human brain, reminding us when to introduce stillness, restraint, or warmth through eye contact, cadence, and vocabulary. Generative adversarial networks, GANs, best illustrate our proactive side, taking control through thoughtful introductions or even hosting events ourselves. To understand our results, we check permutation feature importance, detecting which qualities we should lead with at different stages of a conversation, much like calibrating humor. R squared, accuracy of our flair for identifying topics or reading people. MSE, moments when we may have unintentionally touched on a sensitive subject. MAE, how skillfully we navigate silence. Classification report, helps maintain restraint. Precision shows whether someone is open to conversation. Recall shows whether a follow-up is wise or the interaction was merely polite. K-fold cross-validation. Did we maintain the same grace even when faced with disagreement? It was lovely to meet you is always pleasant to hear, but how can we tell whether those words reflect genuine interest or mere courtesy? Our flair for reading the room resembles fine-tuning in machine learning, combining the learning rate and epoch. Learning rate represents how complex an interaction must be before we perceive subtle cues in tone or body language. Epoch describes the number of interactions needed to navigate a new environment with ease. Social grace demands constant self-accountability, which brings us back to our training data, whatever attributes we choose to lead with. We may have focused on the wrong qualities we once thought ensured personal magnetism. In machine learning, this translates to Ginny impurity, mislabeled data. In life, it could mean verbosity, shallow small talk, or orbiting around conversations that weren't open to us. Entropy, which measures disorder within a dataset, mirrors moments of social uncertainty or misalignment. Acquiring social capital requires becoming memorable while offering others the warmth and grace to feel comfortable in our presence. If we were to operate as a regression model, we'd need to be mindful of bias, assumptions we might develop around others, or variance, excessive flexibility, that makes us seem like we have no personality of our own. Bias makes us too rigid, just like an underfitting ML model. Variance turns us into a suffocating yes person, just like an overfitting ML model. Regularization, conducted through lasso and ridge methods, helps maintain both bias and variance at balanced levels. Lasso keeps only the most important traits, like turning etiquette into empathy. Alexandra Hudson's The Power of Civility beautifully reframes manners as grace in action. Ridge balances all traits, even imperfectly, much like active listening, where genuine attention allows us to remember details and build heartfelt rapport. In life, even attending an event involves multiple layers, from dress codes to researching the host, theme, and guests. When building new connections, even more factors intervene, and that's where ensemble learning shines, by combining multiple algorithms. Bagging trains models independently, combining results through voting, classification, or averaging, regression. Think of it as the subtle bridge between sincerity and mere courtesy in active listening and small gestures. Boosting trains models sequentially, each correcting the previous one. It mirrors emotional maturity, the evolution from trying to impress to asking, "What value does my presence bring?" Stacking trains different models and combines their predictions into a final model. It reflects social ease as the cumulative product of mindset, conduct, and cultivation, growth directions we develop in harmony. Social capital as transformation. Social capital isn't about hoarding names in our contact list, but about cultivating meaningful connections. In machine learning, the function model .transform best describes the process through which new liaisons acquire depth. Mutual information reaffirms compatibility as the person before us reveals more about themselves. By analyzing performance when features are shuffled, permutation importance allows us to read between the lines, to sense whether the connection before us carries friendship, professional synergy, or courteous formality.